Hey, everybody. So here's the question. After the end of May, is our real estate market, well, is it trending upwards? Is it trending downwards? Are we circling and spiraling down with the tidy bowl man? Or are we absolutely just breaking all of the previous preconceptions of what COVID would do with our real estate market? Now, with that, we're going to delve into that here shortly. We're going to look at numbers year over year, year to date, month over month, residential only. So, my name is George Moorhead with Bentley Properties. Been practicing for 27 years. We've closed over 2,000 residential and commercial transactions. So we've got a lot to offer. Now, the best part is it's free. And like you learned last week from Case Schiller, that takes 30, 60, 90 days, like some of the other folks, to get you real-time information. I guess it's not real-time. You get real-time information here. So subscribe, like, share with your friends so that you will be updated every week as we do our market updates and lending updates and things like that. Because today we're also going to talk about how buyers can compete with the multiple offers that we're seeing. So with that, let's get the show on the road. So today is June 5th. So what we've got is our June market update. Now, remember last week we said I was kind of surprised at that point that we hadn't hit kind of that 11, 12%, number of sales under, because a year ago when we didn't have that stay-at-home order, we actually just, we were kind of plodding along. And then when interest rates started coming down, market activity, buyer activity started going up. And that was in the May, June, and then it started to taper back off again. So I was like, I'm just really kind of surprised. Well, we kind of hit that. However, remember, because sales are always looking in the rearview mirror, we figure there's an average of 30 days to close on a transaction. If something closes in May, that means technically it went under contract in April. Okay. So what we're doing when we look at solds, we're kind of looking in that rear view mirror. So it's kind of that a little bit of a lag. Whereas with the actives and new on market and pending sales, well, that's dynamic. That's happening. That's real time right now. So let's take a look at these. So we take a look at year over year. Our listings are down 36.5%. Okay, well, that's right on par. New on market, down 33.5. Yeah, a little bit higher than I expected, but again, not unrealistic. Pending sales are only down 4.5% year over year. Well, that's pretty good. Why? Because even though our solds are down 33.9, it is consistent with our reduction in inventory. Okay, well, that would make sense. So kind of a what we call a flat playing field when we think of that, all things considered, minus this number, which is only off just a little bit. So when we come over here, we look at year to date, again, 39.1 as far as number of homes available for today. New on market is only down 14.7 versus 33.5 year over year. Okay. So the pendants are actually up 9.6%. And here's the number that we were looking at that I said, I'm surprised we weren't in the 11 or 12. Okay, so we're there. So at least our mindset, our predictions are right on target. So we're at 12.9 year to date as far as sales. So year to date means if we look at 2019, Jan 1 through June 4th, and then January 1, 2020 to June 4th. When we look at them, we compare them side by side. These are our numbers, which when you think about it, it's pretty amazing, right? Because more than a third of our people are stuck at home, which is even crazier. Month over month. Now, I understand it is only the 5th, but I thought this was an important one to bring up at this point because look at these numbers. Do you think again that we're still seeing that momentum moving forward? So number of homes for sale are up 5.3 month over month. And remember, May and April kept building on themselves. Even though May took a little bit of a back seat on the sales side, which really, because remember, that's a lag of 30 days. So next month, you're going to probably see a crazy number. New on market are up 82%. Pended are up 35. Sold. It's where the buyer and the seller say yes, and the transaction closed. 63.9%, almost 64%. So we're seeing that momentum. We're just seeing a little bit of a lag in that momentum, which is totally expected. Now, the question is, and some people are saying, George, is it okay to buy a house? Yes, absolutely. We are seeing appreciation. I had a text message today that said, George, did you see prices went down and you said they went up? And I started to laugh and I'm like, time out. Let's compare apples to apples here. What they were quoting in the media was the average home sold, not what the market value is, the average home sold. Meaning if we took all of the sales and we average that price, we come up with an average sales price. Okay, well, it went down just a tad bit, like 1.8%. That's pretty small. Because remember, this is the Northwest MLS. We didn't even delve into the other areas yet, which we have reports for you. If you want them, we will send them to you. There's no cost. All you have to do is request it. And that's from, so the Northwest MLS report is Canada, Bellingham, Tri-Cities all the way down there, Curing all the way through, Wenatchee, Chelan areas and whatnot. So a very vast area. And so we only had a price adjustment of like around 1.8%, which is amazing because that's a nominal amount. We can adjust on that during a healthy market. In fact, we can see a greater swing than that during a healthy market. We saw a bigger swing than that in from January through the end of March of 2019. We had a greater disparity because buyers had been pulling out. So what is really the big nut of what we're talking about, of what we're going through? Well, when we take a look at market times, and Marie's going to post those for you, market times actually are still down. So it takes 4 days less to sell a home today than it did last year at this time. Oh, that's really interesting. Okay, so what about that list price to sales price number? Well, we actually went from last month from 100%, and we actually, most of the way through May, we were at 100%, meaning that the sales price to list price ratio, okay, so if the house was listed at 100,000 and the home sold at 100,000, that's 100%, right? That's equal. Well, at the end of the month, the home was listed at 100,000, we sold at 99,000, okay? And there are some areas that dropped down a little bit more. On the east side, it actually dropped down to about 96%, 97%. In Seattle, it still stayed 99. Down South County, actually pretty close to 100%, was 99.4%. And then Snohomish County, they were lagging a little bit at around 98, 97%. Well, that's still pretty impressive. You might say, well, why the change? Well, because as our market has started to show some signs of 2017, where we had multiple offers, we had craziness that was happening. Our market inventory was being absolutely brought down. It was absolutely nutso. Well, guess what? There is not one home that our team has presented that didn't have multiple offers. Not one. Every single one of them did. We had 6 pre-inspections and 15 offers on one. And that sounds like it was just a couple of weeks ago when I mentioned it, but a different house. So understand, our inventory is 1.6 months. Remember last week I said, yeah, don't be surprised. We're at 1.7. We're seeing a lot of pending sales. We're seeing a lot of things happening. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't drop down to 1.6 months of inventory. And we did. Now you might say, George, what the heck does 1.6 months mean? Okay, well, this is really easy. You got a bucket, and all of the real estate agents put their listings in this bucket. All of the real estate agents that belong to all the different real estate companies, we put a lid on it. We should have, a healthy market should have 4 to 6 months of inventory. So if we put that lid, nothing else goes in, we should be able to sell 4 to 6 months of homes before we run out. That's a balanced market between buyers and sellers. Now, as that number shifts down to the 1.6, that means we have much less inventory, which makes that's absolutely right, a seller's market. It is a prime seller's market. The absorption rate means that the amount, if you think of it as sponge, if the Northwest NMLS was a big sponge or the market was a big sponge, as that sponge is able to take on more and more and more, that's a greater absorption rate. And we're actually in the 63 to 65% absorption, which is a lot because it doesn't become a seller's market till we hit like 63% or 33%. So the market is able to absorb more and more and more. And in fact, that's where we're drawing down inventory. Kind of like your gas when if you got one of those cars and you step on the gas, your fuel economy goes down. That means that it's, you're burning more fuel, you're less efficient, right? And as you let off the gas, it shows that your mileage is getting better. Mine always seems to sit over here. My mother's is like way over here. But anyway, just kidding. All right, sorry, Mom. All right, so when we come back here, you might say, okay, George, what does that translate to? They say, oh my gosh, we had like 11,000 listings, last year at this time, and we have like I don't know, it's like 5,000 or 6,000 this time. And I'm like, yes. Okay, but what's that ratio? The ratio is you stand a better chance. You stand a 2.3 better chance of selling your home today than you did last year. Well, that's pretty crazy because all things considered, May last year was a pretty amazing market because the interest rates had come down and buyers had flocked in. We've been relatively what we call steady Eddie, but almost consistent and outperforming last year in so many different ways. So interest rates today for owner occupied, 3.385%. No points. Okay, rates bumped up a little bit. Not uncommon. The market rallied. There's a lot of things that, they come in because remember, it's based on your 10-year treasury and your bonds, right? Bonds started to lose a little bit of traction, but I expect those to kind of bump back down 3.25, 3.125, somewhere in there. Non-owner occupied is 4.25%. Okay, so we know that we've got still great interest rates. We know that our inventory is going in an upward trend. We know our sales are going off the chart. Pendings, properties between a buyer and a seller saying yes and going under contract so that home comes off the market. We do have an influx of homes coming on market, which is savings grace, considering we only have, 40% of the market that we really should for a healthy, balanced market. Okay. Well, if that's the case, and we're seeing multiple offers, as a buyer, and you're going, oh my gosh, George, I'm part of this. I've made 5 different offers on 5 different homes, and I've yet to succeed. How can we possibly succeed? Well, remember, like on prior videos, you need to be prepared. Prepared, and the big one is also prepared financially. So what's a financial tool other than getting fully underwritten and making sure that your credit scores are top, making sure that you are absolutely rock solid on that level? Here's an option for you. There's a program called the 11-Day Close. Go to www.closeinelevendays.com. Marie will post that link for you. Here's the thing. You can compete with a cash buyer because you can go in only subject to clear title and a satisfactory appraisal. That's it. There you go. That makes things easier. And to close in 11 days, there are agents out there saying, no way, dude, that can't happen. I can guarantee you it is a proven system. We have used it multiple times. Dan Golden at Cornerstone and Juliana at Qualstar Credit Union, we will post their contact information. If you want to be able to compete as a cash buyer, go there. There's no additional cost. Okay, so we expedite an appraisal. That doesn't matter. The key is that it allows you that ability to come in as a cash buyer. I think Dan said he picks it up, but even if he doesn't, it's just a couple $100. Big deal, right? You get the same interest rates. There's no interest rate adjustment. It's not like, well, to get this program, we're gonna do an add-on. We're gonna add 1/4% or 1/8%. No, same interest rates. So the question is, where's the downside? Well, there isn't any. Because if you can go in absolutely rock solid, but if you're interested in saving money and you knew that if there was a small credit item or whatnot that would give you maybe an extra 5 points to kind of get over that next edge, that next level of lending, which would save you hundreds of dollars, hey, where's the downside to that one? Then that gives you the ability to know that without a doubt, because you've been completely underwritten, pending title, pending a satisfactory appraisal, hey, where's the downside? You can close. You don't have to have a financing contingency. Why? Because you're already underwritten. They've already said yes. Pending these two things, which are contingencies that protect you in a purchase and sale agreement. Unless, of course, you waive it. Then you should have a different conversation. With that, if you guys have any questions, reach out to us. If you would like any of the reports that we work on every single week, let us know. We do reports all across the Puget Sound, primarily in Pierce, King, and Snohomish County. If you want something specific to your neighborhood or area or city, you just want to know trends, hey, email us, let us know. In the meantime, remember to subscribe. This way you get the update for next week. And if you have any questions, post them. We're great about getting back to you guys, typically 30 minutes, plus or minus 30 minutes. So in the meantime, have a fabulous day. It's going to be kind of a mixed day out there. And you guys stay safe. Take care. And I'll see you on the next video.